In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to search a vector. And we're going to look at one way to do that, which is to search for the maximum value. And what I've done is I've already written a program to both generate a set of random numbers in a vector and then find the maximum value. What I've left out is the definition for the function maxval, which I'm going to show you in just a minute. But first, let's step through this program. Here I'm seeding the random number generator, and I'm using another method of doing that, which involves calling the time function, which will return the system time. And to do that, I need to pound include another library, ctime. So you'll see that right there. This is just another way to generate random numbers. So then I create a number vector. Then I add data to it by generating a set of random numbers from 1 to 100. Then we display the vector, and then we find the maximum value. So what's left to do now is define the maximum value function. This is a integer returning function. So my return type is int. What we do is we're going to create a variable, and we're going to assign it to the 0 index. And what we're going to do is then assume that that's the maximum value, or that the maximum value is stored in that position. Then we're going to loop through the loop through the vector, starting at the first position, or the second position, index 1, through the whole vector. We're going to increment by 1. And what we're going to do is we're going to say if this particular vector element is greater than the value that's currently stored in the maximum position, the maximum then becomes that number. And then we'll just continue making that comparison through the whole vector, and then we'll end up with the maximum value index position, which we return to the function. To the calling program. So let's run this program. Taking a minute to compile. Here's our data, and you can see that the maximum value is indeed 93. So let's run it again. This time you'll see that the maximum value is 96. Let's run it one more time. And this time you can see that the maximum value is indeed 81. So I think we've confirmed that this function works. And you could very easily rewrite this for the minimum value, and we'll allow you to do that in the exercises. Now the second thing I want to do is write a very simple contains method, which I'll just simply define here. And all we do here is we simply loop through the vector. And then we say if vector sub I equals value, return true. And then allow the function to loop through the rest of the, let's make sure we're in the right place here. Nope, we're not. We need another. Well, we're going to have a little problem here, so let's fix that. Let's put this down here. Oh, I see where the problem is. We didn't have a curly brace right there. Then we'll erase that one. Let's go back. Close off the for loop. Then we also need a return false if we don't find the data in there. So to demonstrate how that works, let's come down here and we're going to say cout indel value to search for, int val cin val, and then if numbers dot contains val, oops, let's get that back, there we go, cout val is in the vector indel, oops, else cout val is not in the vector. Indel. So we'll run this program. Oops. Oh, I see, we did that. I did it a little bit different here. Contains numbers val. There we go. Now will it work? Okay, so let's search for a value that's there. Let's search for 5. And it says 5 is in the vector, so we know that's working. Let's run it again. This time let's search for 99. 99 is not in the vector. These are both examples of what's called a linear search, where we're simply starting at the beginning of the vector and working our way all the way through to the end, also sometimes called sequential search. There's a better way to do it, which is beyond the scope of this course, and that's to use something called binary search. And you can learn about that in some advanced treatments of C++. But for now, we've wrapped up this lesson on searching vectors using the sequential or linear search